Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Lost in Our 40s, a podcast by women for women where we talk about topical issues important for us. Welcome on in. I'm your host, Shiro, author of Date Like Cleopatra, The Good Girl Flips the Script. Welcome on in. Today, I start by saying that the book is out. The Good Girl Flips the Script, Date Like Cleopatra. The book is out. Go get yourself a copy. It's out on Amazon. It will soon be near you. So go get yourself a copy and read up. And today's session is on the topic. We are talking about the good girl fallacy in relationships. I remember there's a time I was going through the motions of discovering that I have been brought up as a good girl and finding that I didn't like it. I didn't like what that made of me. And I was having the conversation with a friend of mine who didn't really get it. Because from her perspective, the idea was there's nothing wrong with being good. And we start there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being good. Do I put it that way? Let me take that back. Let me retake that one. Cut. Again, I entertain myself a little too much. But anyway, is there anything wrong with being good? That, if I take a deeper view into the question, depends a little bit on the view of goodness, on what is considered good, what is considered bad. And how society has, my society anyway, this is what I can speak about most. My Kenyan upbringing had a lot of, and this is not just Kenyan, maybe the patriarchal side of it, the Christian side of it, this whole mismatch of ideas said that when you do your homework, you're a good girl. When you color within the lines, you're a good girl. When you let someone else sit instead of you in the bus, you're a good girl. So notionally, not necessarily bad in and of themselves, but then the question became, what were these things teaching me about me? What beliefs did I pick up from having decided to be a good girl? I don't understand this. I get the impression that it's only when the camera is on that I have trouble walking on the treadmill or walking at all. Because I've done a few videos outside when I'm walking and I get out of breath. And I'm noticing myself getting out of breath now. We shall persevere. If I get out of breath, I'm on the treadmill, really on the lowest possible setting. Anyway, and the idea is also that it's January 2025. So maybe you want to start your year doing something a little more healthy, a bit more exercise. So I'm following you to the gym. You can carry me along to the gym and listen in. But back to the topic. Good girl fallacy in relationships. So I found that a lot of what I picked up, let's take even just the very silly one, the very normal one of finishing your homework. And then you're told you're a good girl. So the messaging there is to do. People who do things are good. Because I always want to be told I'm a good girl. That was it. I always wanted to be told that I'm a good girl. It made me feel nice. And actually, that was the other thing of it, because it became like I want to say a carrot and a stick, but not really that. Like I have a cat. I have a cat who loves being petted. So he'll strain his head up whenever you're about to put your hand on him, because he just loves it. So that's what the good girl praise became, sort of, that I'm doing things so that I can have this I can extend my head to be pet like the way my cat does. So it's small things, again, none of them are dramatic, but you're getting some kind of reward from a very young age. You're learning this. And I did a video with some Nikki. There's one of my videos with Nikki, and we have this discussion. And she actually says something brilliant. She says that it becomes like a fix. It's like you're becoming addicted to this good girl praise. Then you start doing the kind of things that will make you be told that you're good. If you're ever told you're bad, the world is ending. This is terrible. Yeah. So now, let's have a look at how this shows up in relationships. And in fact, we'll start with that one. Performance. It became a performative thing, that it was more important for me to color within the lines so that I get the stars. In my school, they used to give us stars. I think they were gold or yellow stars for having done wonderful things. So, and then there used to be, what do you call that? Like a board, I guess, that was hung somewhere with everyone's name and the number of stars that they had, and you always wanted to be towards the top. I mean, no, that board, you always wanted to be the one who has the most number of stars. Performance. That became performative, and that became another walking is too much. But let me put it off. This really, 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 I'll need to convince you. One day I'll be doing a session when I'm all out exercising. But anyway, what was I talking about? Performance, yes. So it became this thing of I want everyone else to see. I don't only want to be told that I'm a good girl, I want everyone else to see that I'm a good girl. You're asking yourself, what does this have to do with relationships? Instagram, as an example. And these fantabulous weddings, these over the top amazing weddings. And there's nothing wrong with amazing weddings, there's nothing wrong with Instagram, but there is this notion of comparison that we fall into. That you're looking at, wow, look at the wedding pictures from XYZ's wedding. It was so grand. I want to do something grander. Why? Because it's performative. You want everyone to see how well you're doing. Are you doing well? And this is at any stage of the relationship. It could be that you claim that your man bought you, heaven knows what, whatever gift it is, and he never really bought it. But you want everyone else to think that your relationship is amazing, that you're having the time of your life. So performative. And then because he's not buying these amazing things that you want to be able to tell other people he's been buying, you're unhappy with him. So the relationship is just terrible, and you think that he's not doing what you think he should be doing, but you're not really having a conversation about it. And again, I don't have it here, but that's another good girl thing. The good girl is taught to be quiet. You shouldn't really speak up. If you have an opinion that might disturb other people, keep it to yourself, because your role as a good girl is to maintain the peace. Your role is to make sure that everyone else is okay. So when there is a conflict with your partner, it is unthinkable that you would be the one to come up and raise it. And this really ties in Kenyan society, because there we are just a passive-aggressive lot. Where we got it from, I don't know. And maybe I shouldn't put it all over the board like it's so straightforward a thing. But in many interactions, you'll find that people do not expressly state what it is they're thinking, because they do not want to be offensive. So they'll either try to find another way around telling you, which often comes out as passive aggressive. So just being told, you didn't come yesterday, as opposed to asking, why didn't you come yesterday? Or it would be, you didn't come yesterday, you must have been doing something more important. You hear the sting in that one. I said, instead of just saying, we missed you yesterday, why didn't you come? Because that is a genuine question where you're genuinely trying to find out what happened. In the other example, you didn't come yesterday, you must have been doing something more important. There is a sting of, you don't find us important. You couldn't even bother telling us why you weren't coming. There's so much accusation. There's so much negativity. And that, again, comes, if I take it back to the good girl dimension, it does come from not speaking. You're not meant to speak your truth. You're meant to be the flower that fades away within the wallpaper, not someone who's taking center stage. Yeah. And even that, I mean, in a relationship, that is also super troublesome, because you're not able to occupy space. You don't feel like you can say that I want to go to, I don't know where, whatever activity it is that you want to do. I want to go out for dinner. Let's even just take it that way. No. I want us to go out for dinner. When you're asked, what do you want to do? Instead of that, you just then start saying, oh, I'm not sure, I don't really know. What do you want to do? Because again, being the good girl, you've been taught to lower yourself. Whatever it is that you want is not important. Whatever everyone else wants is more important. You make yourself small so that everyone else can be big. That in a relationship then plays out. It happened to me. There's a time I was in a relationship with someone who I would not provide an opinion no matter what. I saw him getting bored. I watched the light come out of his eyes, and he'd look at me quizzically every once in a while, like, even that, he wouldn't give an opinion about. And so, yes, we went along doing things the way he wanted us to do, doing whatever passions it is he had became my passions. And partly also, I didn't really know what my own interests were. That's a story for another day. But when I did have an opinion about something, I still felt that I couldn't speak, because that's what the good girl in me had learned to do. Over all those years of being told all those things, that is the position that I had taken. Not really good in a relationship, and that's what happens. I mean, that relationship didn't last. He then came to think of me as, what? There's a word for that, colorless. I find that word so harsh. Imagine being colorless. There's nothing to you. G.L. Lambert, he's the author of the book Men Don't Love Women Like You, something like that. And yes, as the heading suggests, it's a rather harsh book, but it's quite an interesting read, because he talks about then just this kind of perception and the way the woman has to change from the inside out. He says that the woman needs to become, I think he calls it a Spartan or something like that, a game changer, something like that. He has a term for it, that you need to like have an alter ego. And I quite agree with that. In the beginning stages of trying to understand how to face up to relationships, if everything you've been doing for 40 years, as an example, hasn't been working, then there's room to do things differently. But that's not why I brought him up. He has a podcast, Gia Lambert. That's again very harsh. He's not for the faint-hearted. He speaks his mind in ways that are at times difficult to take in. So I don't really listen to him that much, but I did listen to one or two of his podcasts, and he was addressing men. He was advising men on the kind of people, the kind of women not to date, and he specifically said, at the point I felt like I was being stabbed, because he did say that women who are not in a position to give any kind of opinion, forget them. Forget them, because the relationship will not last. It looks like there's no one home. They're just smiling, they're just happy. They could be the prettiest thing on earth, but to the extent that they are not connected to themselves, they then are just mirroring whatever it is you want. So initially for the man, it sounds really nice, because it sounds like, aha, this is someone who loves everything that I love. But in time you come to realize that no, this is just a very shallow experience. And those are the words that were just so so heart-wrenching. And think of it that way. I mean, think of the impact you have in relationships. And if you can see that washing yourself off to become colorless is making you less interesting than a dead plant on the side of a street, no, no, you have everything within you to shine. And that's really the point. The point of being you is to be you. And this is really what the good girl dimension takes away from women. It teaches you to be anything but yourself. It removes you from your true essence, your true power, your true strength. You are a magnificent person. You, exactly the way you were born. Everything about you. You have this amazing light inside of you, an amazing force, an amazing field. You are everything. You are magnetic. You can bring to yourself anything that you want. You are divine. You are God, created in God's image, God in you. We are all connected to each other. We all have this divinity. And imagine saying to God, your higher power, whoever you believe in, or whatever it is that you believe in, saying, or even to yourself, saying, because if the soul being a part of you, so saying to the divine part of you that, look, I do not want this gift you've given me. I'd rather be drained of all color and step out into the world looking like water. Colorless, pale. I do not want any of this me. I do not want to show any of this me outside there. I'm better off just being loved in any way that I can get myself loved by doing whatever it is that anyone else wants me to do. And the tragedy of it is that leads in the exact opposite direction. Take my example for guidance. You don't need to go through it yourself. My example again was just that. I had nothing to offer because the only thing that had interested him when he started dating me was the me he found. So when I removed everything, it's like being in my image. I have like a cartoon running in my head. In my head, I have a cartoon running where your body is a box, like a cardboard box. Then you step out of it, leave the cardboard box there, and then you yourself are just standing on the side watching now a mechanical object, a robot, doing things that it has been told by others. No, 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 no. Your body can't live without you, and you can't live in this world anyway without your body. So exist, live. This is what people want. This is why people want to be in a relationship with you. The initial attraction is actually you. Not what it is that you think that would get them to like you. No. It is you living as your true self, you being you being embodied in yourself. That is what is attractive. So, next one. We moved a bit away from the list that I had. But a good point here is that a person who is living their full-fledged good girl life is unable to receive. You're unable to receive. This came out in being told that yours is to give. Your worthiness is in showing that you can do. Again, that is why you are being given stars. Well, I was being given stars, or you were being given an A+ with a good girl written on the side. Yeah, your worthiness comes from your ability of doing, your ability of giving. You're giving your seat, you're giving your time, you're giving heaven knows what. So your ability to give is where you have been taught your essence comes from. So the idea of receiving seems wrong. Seems very, very wrong. Seems like you're taking up space in a way that you shouldn't, because your essence is to give. You're only good if you're giving. You're only good if you're helping others. You're only good if you're being Mother Teresa. Just being you and receiving feels completely wrong. I know this firsthand, and the easiest way to see this is with compliments. Can you receive a compliment? Can you receive a compliment? What if I told you right now, your eyes look beautiful? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Do you have an impulse to immediately tell me, oh, so do yours? Do you have an impulse to shut your eyes and look away? Do you have an impulse to say that, yeah, your glasses are in the shop, that's why you don't have them on today, you like to cover up your ugly eyes, These are things that we do. We like an outfit, then you quickly say that, no, I bought it secondhand. I got it at a bargain, as if one thing has to do with the other. So just being able to sit there and say thank you, to receive, and to actually receive it. Receiving a compliment feels like opening your heart and allowing this good thing that you've been told to come in. That is what receiving a compliment feels like, and that is why you're not shooting back compliments. If you're shooting back compliments, it didn't get beyond your head. Your ears heard it, it went to your brain, and then your brain shot back something out. No. Receiving a compliment goes into the body, and you feel it. And you feel a warmth that comes from the person who is giving you the compliment. Because oftentimes, most people who give compliments are giving it from the goodness of their heart. And even if they're not, even if they're telling you something for whatever other reason, recognize that these are nice things that you have been told. Accept it, receive it, feel it in your body, open up your heart and receive it. And it opens up a little magical piece. It was really difficult for me to do this when I started, but then I just told myself that I shall either not say any, just I shall always just say thank you when I receive a compliment. Zip it, nothing else. Just say thank you, and it was quite some work. It was quite some work, but then I learned by the practice. So I was faking it, alter ego. I was faking it initially, and in time, then I started realizing that I am complimentable. That people see things about me that are worthy of complimenting. And this then also had the effect of shifting my self worth story. Because a lot of this inability to receive comes also from, well, yeah, it comes also from the notion that we are not worthy of receiving. Why would you give it to me? Why would you compliment me? I'm just little old me. There's so many wonderful people who've done so many wonderful things. Why do you want to tell me anything? And it can be pushed back in strange ways. I remember someone pushing back a compliment at me in a mean way, without ever expecting to be mean. It was her reflex at I complimented something small, her hair, I think. And yeah, it was her hair. And what she told me back was hurtful. I didn't get hurt because I understood that it was a reflex, but it wasn't something that made me feel like giving her more compliments. So the reflex that you have when you're not used to receiving is can be detrimental to your relationship. So now in a relationship, here we're just talking about compliments. If you cannot receive a compliment, how can you receive anything else? A compliment is a good feeling that someone has sent towards you. It is positive energy, good vibes. If you cannot receive that, how can you receive a home? Someone wanting to buy you a house. How will you receive a house? So you want the life on Instagram, but you cannot receive a compliment. You see how those things don't really gel together. Mm-mm. You have to practice. You have to practice receiving. And this really makes a difference in your relationship. Because being able to receive your partner at home, whatever that looks like to you, but then being able to build a receptive environment for your partner, for your man. So I guess that is the doing, yeah, yeah. That goes off that point because that is creating the environment. But then it does. Hold on. I have it. I've gotten the trail of it. You do that by being in your feminine energy. So the inability to receive is you being in your masculine energy. We all have the masculine energy and the feminine energy. Nothing wrong with all of them. Men have it, women have it, we all have this. So it's creating the balance between the two that has an impact on relationships. So the the ability to receive is a feminine energy trait. And if what you're looking for is in your relationship is a partner who has more of the masculine energy, and maybe I'll do a video about this, about masculine and feminine energy. But in short, the masculine energy kind of man would be the one who is doing more of the providing, the one who is then taking care, creating the safety, creating that environment. And the feminine kind of energy is the one who is receiving, the one who then makes things it's just feminine energy. It's like it's this connection to yourself. You are embodying your full self. You're embodying your divine. And in embodying your divine, you're not fighting with anyone. You're not creating chaos. People just love being around you because your energy is so beautiful. Your energy is so pure. Your energy is so magnetic. You create whatever it is you want to create. And that is that dynamic. And if you are looking for that kind of partnering, then being able to receive is honestly the first point, because that is what's taking you into your feminine energy. Another point in this one is, did I have it here? Being in your head. Yes. So another thing that can create some kind of tension in relationships is always being stuck in your head. You're stuck in your head, you're stuck in your head, you're thinking, you're analyzing, you're controlling, you're everything about you is here, and nothing about you is in your body. And that again is a difference between the masculine and the feminine. The masculine is more in the head, the masculine energy, the feminine energy is more in the body. Being in the body looks like this. Being in the body looks like slowing down to eat your meal, savoring, noticing the little notes, how the different flavors go together. And this could be rice and beans. It doesn't have to be anything exotic, but it's something that you're enjoying. It's savoring the moment. It's savoring the activity. And this is, of course, I'm assuming you like rice and beans. I love rice and beans. Strangely enough, it's something we used to eat in high school. And when we were eating it in high school, I thought it was the worst thing ever. Beans, not githeri. Rice and beans, but anyway. Savory. Okay, take ice cream. Whatever it is you like. What do you like? Wine. Fine red wine. Or whatever it is that you like. Being able to savor it, smell it. Look, consider the texture. Having flowers and looking at them, finding them so beautiful. I have some flowers here. So you look at the texture and you find them so beautiful. You take the time to smell them and you engage with them. And having them there to look at, because then that is also just something beautiful that captures the eye, captures your environment. So these things that slow you down. And there's this thought that if you consider yourself, like at your heart you have like a dial. You know, a dial, like those things you turn, like on an iron box. I don't know why that's the example that has come to my mind, but on an iron box to increase and decrease the heat. So consider it, it's like a dial for time, and then slow it down. So if it's 60 minutes, then slow it down 15 minutes, and then just try to do everything you do more slowly. Because it's easy to rush, it's easy to be in a hurry, and this is what gets us in our heads. We do, we're planning da. But turn down the dial. Even when you're walking somewhere, just slow down. Slow down, you can look at the sky, notice it. Notice the blend of colors in the sky. The sky is beautiful. Nature is beautiful. Even if you're in the city, it could be the cars that are beautiful, the people passing you by that are beautiful. And this then gets you into your body. And being in your body, as far as a relationship goes, is quite important, because then you are engaging more with even your intuition. If you're in your body as opposed to your head, you'll be able to get the subtle signs that your body is giving you. It could be this blaring, get out, get out. It could be, this guy is a danger, go. And when you're in your head, it's easy to try and find some logic and say, no, he can't be dangerous because he did X, Y, and Z. He's a wonderful person. He gives to charity. So we do have an internal warning system. And if you can engage more with your body, then that can help you try and find it. But it can also be the one that's inviting you to engage even more closely with him, because your body is saying, we like him. There's something about the way he smells that smells like home. Yeah, there's something about his touch that is magical. We want more of that touch. We want more of his heartbeat. He has a rhythm that slows yours down, so he feels safe, something like that. This you feel in your body without thinking about in your head. Okay, what was this one? Can't do better. Aha. So being a good girl can also put you in the idea frame of not being able to do better. So these are beliefs. The beliefs that we were taught could include, this one again goes to worthiness. Yes. I'm just looking at my notes. So I did have that down as well, that this goes down to worthiness. And I mentioned in the podcast, one or two podcasts before, I'll put the link, about the worthiness, what did she call it? Worthy Points. The book was The Worthy Project by Midal Divao, something like that. And yeah, she was saying that in everything that you do, you're either increasing your self worth or decreasing your self worth based on the tiny little decisions that you're making. So the beliefs, in this case, in the example I'm giving, the beliefs that we got in childhood are the ones that said that when you, what other example can we be? When you are number one, when you're top in class, or when you're top 5 or top 10 or whatever, you're doing good. This is the pat on the head that you're straining up for. You're doing great. And because of that, your feeling of self-worth is tied to being at the top of your class. So what if you are not so academically endowed? What if you've never been at the top of your class? The messaging you're receiving is that you are not worth much. Sorry. The messaging you're receiving is that you're not worth as much. You're lower. There are other people are better than you. You are never going to get a pat on the head. You are worthless. And this feeling stems into relationships as well. So in this relationship, maybe he doesn't treat you very nicely. If you allowed yourself to be in your body, you might get the messaging that we need to abort, get out. This relationship is not building us up. It is not increasing our self-worth point. Being with this person is making you feel worse. And there are many things that can tie into this. There might be, the one that came to mind immediately was like body shaming. You might have body shaming issues. Again, something probably picked up from childhood, because you are meant to be. I was a fat child as well. So being told that there's something wrong with the way you look, then that gives you the messaging that your body is not at par. Then of course you watch all the movies and everything else, and you get that message in yourself that your body is not at par. Then you just start feeling low. Then you might get into a relationship, and even though it's not really amazing, you feel that no one else would have you. And depending on the type of relationship, if it is a toxic relationship, this would be the message that you're getting from your partner as well. Your partner may be telling you who else would have you. And that is a diminishing thing. That's something I also had at some point. So experience, I have a lot. Hence the book, Date Like Cleopatra. Because until you see that these things are happening, it's difficult to realize that things can be different. Seeing that there is a dynamic at play, and that a lot of these things are things that have been put into your psyche. They're not true. The beliefs that you have are not true. You can change whatever belief at any point in your life. So at the point when I was in a relationship with someone telling me that who else would have you? In fact, that's what he'd say. He'd say that he could leave the relationship and have another girl in a second, but who else would have me? So building on this information that I had already picked up as a young child, that if I'm not at the very top, if I'm not at the highest, and I did rank, I was at the top, because for me that it was cutthroat. If my self-worth was tied to that, then I had to be at the very top. But for whatever other reason, just all this messaging that comes in, and then you start thinking that, at least I have him. No, you never ever have to take that. Because I hear these horror stories of women who they're married and their spouses their husbands bring women home. My heart absolutely goes out. That is such a horrendous thing to do. Partners cheating is a terrible thing, but the idea of someone bringing someone into your home, into your bed, that's disgusting. That's really disgusting. And in such cases, I imagine it would be a self-worth issue that makes the women feel that they can't do any better. Because in a number of these cases, I'm not talking about financial dependence. That's again a story for another day. But you do have women who are doing amazingly well. And yet, from a financial perspective, perhaps they're even the breadwinners. And yet, this is what's going on at home, and it just makes them feel smaller. So, I mean, this is what makes life such a drudgery, and that is why we have to thank God for the midlife crisis, which we are told happens in our 40s. Hence, the podcast Lost in Our 40s, because this is a point at which we can actually, put a foot down and say, hold on, we are looking at all this again. Let's crap this out. We are not going to be we're not going to be standing for nonsense. I am deserving. I am worthy. I am going to be building up my self-worth points. And one of the way of doing that is not accepting to be treated like trash under any circumstances. You might feel that it is difficult, you need to give it time. No, 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 no. No. You don't need to give anything time. Allowing yourself to be treated badly is building up yourself, is creating within you the feeling of worthlessness. So even if you just allow it for one more day, the children are young, we just need to persevere until they're older. Your children are watching this. Your children are learning from your worthlessness, and they're taking it in. They're breathing it in. So especially your daughters, this might be something that they take into their relationships. So you have the opportunity to save them by standing up for yourself. You stand up for yourself, and you might feel that you don't really know how to do it. There might be no one else out there for me. Imagine it's okay. Imagine being single is not a curse. Imagine you'll survive. Imagine you're fine. No, don't accept it. Don't accept to be treated badly just because there's no one else. 7 billion people, really? No. And the world wasn't created in such a cruel way. Your life hasn't been planned in such a cruel way that the only thing that you're going to get from it is sorrow. No, this life is the one we know about. Other lives might be different, or they might not exist, who knows. But I believe in other lives, yes. But this life that you're living now, you came here with an intention, if nothing else, to have a great time. Because, there are people looking for their purpose. Oh, what am I here for? Have a great time. So, at the very least, don't live 20 more years in despair because who else would have me? And you don't have to kill him. I know I've just said that you don't have to kill him. Why? Because I remember there's a time we were having a conversation, a heated debate. We were a number of girls and one guy, and we were having a conversation about some women who are rumored to have killed their husbands. Their husbands were all well off, and the women looked for painstaking, slow ways to kill them. Why? Because then they could then have their happily ever after without the bother of the old men. So these are stories, whether true or not. So we're just debating, and we're having a conversation with the girls, and we were talking about how we'd go about killing our husbands if it came to that. And there was this one guy listening to us keenly, and when we finished talking, he asked, "But couldn't you just leave?" And we were just amused. We were just really amused because, of course, that is the answer. So, of course, this is all just conversation. There's no one killing anyone. All their husbands are alive. I'm not married. I don't have a husband. So, yes. But point being, you don't have to wait for it to escalate. And I say all this keeping in mind, of course, that there are situations that are absolutely not this straightforward. If you are able to walk away, absolutely walk away, because it is for women, it is for a number of people, it is for a number of mostly women that the situation, the domestic violence situation, is a whole different ball game altogether. We have coercive control, we have all these things that happen that make leaving not a straightforward option. And I say this cognizant of that. My heart goes out to you if that's a situation that you're in. And my prayer for you is that you can find means of empowering yourself. Slowly but surely, just find means of seeking to empower yourself so that you don't get into a terrible situation. When I think of this, I often go to Esther Arunga. I haven't Googled her in a long, long time, but Esther Arunga was a TV broadcaster in Kenya who was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. Prime of her life, just doing great and wonderful things. And then she got caught up in I'd call it almost like a cult. I think it was a cult. And long story, I won't get into all the details, but long story short, she moved to Australia with her husband, who murdered her child. Her child was killed in a really inhumane way, and when the authorities came to the home to see what was going on, I think I can't remember if he killed himself. I don't remember the bits of the story, but she was arrested, and even now she's in jail. And I get so sad about whenever I think about that story, because it's really that it's this being held to such an extent that things took such a sour turn. I feel so sorry for her, because that was many years ago, and then she's suffering for it, and I a prayer for her and a prayer for her family. That's just really difficult, and I that's why I say I do appreciate that relationships can get a hold on you. And I really pray that if you are in such a relationship that is just even getting now the tentacles of trying to get its hold on you, that you'd be able to notice it, feel it in your body, and get away from it. Get away from it. That's my prayer for you. Okay. The last one I have here is the saint. I think I've mentioned it in passing, but the good girl is told that you must be the best. You do things for other people. You are the saint. You give out of yourself so that other people may have whatever it is that they deserve, whatever it is that they desire, because that makes you a good girl. That is your pathway to heaven. So giving of yourself so that others may benefit. And my personal view now is not at all, because the way we've been taught has been that you're actually worth less. Is actually the teaching that I got from this idea of saintliness, that you need to be the one giving other people the better seat or doing heaven knows what. No. Because the back belief there is that your worth is less than other people's. Let everyone else do better than you. And it's I I want to give an example, but it's embarrassing. I don't know if I'll give it. Okay, fine. We are here already. We might as well go. So I came to notice that I'll give you this one instead. I went to visit my friend who lives in Paris, and we were walking. She and I were walking. But it was comical. If someone were filming us, it would be really comical to see. Because I kept dashing away, putting across, letting other people pass. And she was walking firmly, one foot in front of the other. She was occupying her space. And then I just kept. So at some point, she stopped and asked me, "What's going on?" And I said, "But I'm just letting other people pass." And she's like, "Why? Why are you letting other people pass?" And that's where the message came to me. What is making those other people more important than me? Why have I decided that I must be the smaller one and other people must be allowed to pass? And it really affected me, because then I watched her and I realized that all she's doing is that she's emitting energy. She's emitting energy that is saying, "I am worthy." So like this is a Wonder Woman pose, is it? Yeah, that she is worthy. She can occupy space. So she wasn't walking like that. She was just stepping one step after the other, but a clearing was forming around her because she was standing strong. And then I practiced it and realized, wow, I can gather this energy in myself. I can be a person who feels worthy. And it was amazing. And it ties me to there's this program, Sesame Land. What's it called? The Dog Whisperer. Is it called that? Sesame Land. So he has this program where he deals with difficult dogs, crazy dogs that won't listen to anybody. He has a way of going in and calming them. And the thing I loved about that program, I've watched all of them, and they were like, I don't know, like 18 series. Are they called series? Yeah, so like each with 10, 15 episodes. And I've really watched all of them, and what I came to realize is that he would say the same thing over and over and over again. And whenever I watched it, I would be fascinated. Because what he's saying is the dog can read your energy. So you need to be confident. You need to be the alpha dog. You need to not to be worrying about what might happen, because your dog bit somebody, they might again go and bite someone again. Don't create a future that isn't there. You need to be the strength, because the dog is taking from your energy. So if you have this worrying energy and you're thinking that your dog is going to bite somebody, you shall create that situation. Your dog shall go out and bite somebody, because that is the energy that you have presented to it. And then your dog is becoming the energy is not calm. Your dog then gets very agitated, and because of that, they go out and bite somebody. So the strength of your energy is something that is readable by dogs, by other people, by creation, by nature. So that's also when you talk about even things like manifesting, because this is it's your, if you don't believe that you are worthy of whatever, then that is the energy that you're emitting. Then the universe hears you. Then the universe understands she is not worthy. Your mind understands we are not worthy. Then you shall never have whatever it is you actually feel you're not worthy of. So that's building up of your self points, your importance, and I shall link the video into this on this one. Having your own feeling of self worth is priceless. Creating this like connection to yourself, having, because here we're talking about, I've gotten lost a bit, the saint and the walking on the streets. So feeling that you are worthy of occupying the space on the street, that when you take one step in front of the other, then the people around you can feel your presence. So then I was doing a lot of steps trying to dodge and move away, but then it was a real learning, and I appreciate you if you're watching this. I really appreciate this. Yeah, that learning that I can have a stance, and this comes again into relationships, because think about what Gia Lambert was saying, someone who is colorless. If you can take your stance, then you draw respect towards you. Yeah, again, Wonder Woman, you're drawing respect towards you because you believe that you are worthy. So if you believe that you are worthy of a man who treats you well, then you draw men who treat you well. If you believe that the only kind of men you can draw are bad boys who treat you poorly, then that is what you shall draw to you. So having that understanding that what you believe is what you create, you are the creator. You are creating what is going on around you. So that has an amazing impact on the relationships you draw towards yourself and your experience in those relationships. Because if you do not want a Netflix and chill date, then you carry yourself around as someone who does not do Netflix and chill. And in fact, what will happen is that it won't even be proposed, because you have that, think of it like a shell around you, like this, a golden bubble. I remember there used to be a program about a boy in a bubble, something to do with germs. Anyway, think of it that way. Think as if you're protected by a big shell around you, and it's magnificent, it's amazing, it's beautiful, and this gives out your energy signature out to the people around you, because that is what actually happens. You'll notice that there are times you'll walk into a room and feel off, or feel up, feel empowered, and this could be based on the energy signatures of the people around you. So you do feel it, and that's how you can tell. Maybe you're in a room alone facing a direction and you feel a presence, someone has walked in. So it is not just crazy ideas. The idea of energy being something that others feel is true. So have the self-worth, build your self-worth points by doing the things that tell you that I am important, I am worthy to myself, instead of wearing the clothes that are tattered and torn when I'm at home because I am at home alone. No, I teach myself that I am worthy of nice clothes when I'm alone at home, because I'm not dressing up for other people, I'm dressing up for me, and I am important, I am worthy. If you have to, just stand like this. Yeah, so these are the points that I had on this point. on what was it called? Good girl fallacy in relationships. So now, hopefully, my friend, if you're listening, the one I had the conversation with on the good girl, hopefully now you understand what I mean by the good girl fallacy. And if you do find yourself in any of these things, if you do find yourself as a good girl, it's something that can be healed. You never have to be the same person that you were yesterday. Even you can change who you are at any given point in time. And again, that is why we are thanking the 40s. What did you call it? Midlife crisis. Because now you can absolutely then just make a decision. Honestly, these things are as easy as making a decision to change. You do not want to be a good girl anymore. List the things that you see in yourself that come up as good girls. So notice it when you do it. Sometimes it's not that straightforward, but notice it when you do it. If you are the one who is offering to run the errands, or I don't know, whatever it is that you're offering to do, you're offering your time, you're offering your space, then after that you feel bad. Because that's often it. After that you start feeling bad and you start, what's the word? Judging other people. Why would they allow me to do this? You offered. What expectation? You have expectations that they're not meeting. No. Learn how to just speak your truth, speak up. Say whatever it is that you feel politely, of course. We are not ever with this. You also have to just do this judiciously. You don't just say whatever comes to your mind. You do this with love for the people who are listening. Yeah. As always, it's super great to have you here. I always feel like it's like talking with some pals. So I appreciate you. Go get it for yourself. Date like Cleopatra. The good girl flips the script. You'll see all these things that we're talking about, but as well as gems on things that you can actually do. It has exercises that tell you line by line the things that you can actually do to get out of the good girl paradigm in the dating sphere. See you next time. Bye bye.